I'm Wendy Carpenter, Penny Lane's CEO, and today I'm going to be joined with two ladies who have had an enduring friendship. So here's the question. Can you be best friends at work? Does friendship translate into a workplace environment? Join us for Wine with Wendy and find out. It's interesting, when I was a little girl, I remember my mom saying to me, make your friends with women. Your girlfriends will be there for you no matter what. You will fall in and out of love. You will have many different jobs. You may even have kids. But what will really stay with you are your girlfriends. So join me today for Wine with Wendy. I'm Wendy Carpenter, the CEO at Penny Lane, and I am thrilled to be joined with two women who are going to blow your mind. These ladies are best friends, but they are also the heartbeat of Penny Lane. So welcome, ladies. I'm here today with Nydia Barakat, who is our director of fund development. Nydia has been with us for over 17 years. And really, she actually, interesting, started at the zoo and came to us 17 years ago with a lot of creativity. And I think more than anything else, she has really put in a lot of love into everything she does. So I'm really excited to have this conversation with you, Nydia, so welcome.
Thank you so much.
And I also have with us today Dr. Judith Sandino, who has been with us, and it's even hard for me to say how long, because then it makes me feel like I've been here a very long time, but close to 29 years.
Yes.
I mean, the same age as your eldest son, Casey.
Yes.
But I think, and Judy, by the way, is our Chief Program Officer. I like to call her Chief of Hearts. And as we go through and have the conversation, our audience will definitely understand why I say that. But more than anything else, ladies, I think that, I mean, even combining the number of years you've been at Penny Lane, both of you, your friendship has been longer than both of that. So before we get into the conversation, I want to toast us to sisterhood, yes, to women, and to loving relationships between women. Cheers to that.
Yes.
And I must tell our audience that we are enjoying a very delicious Malbec. Now, why did I choose a Malbec? Well, because it's saucy and spicy, and it's from Argentina, just like the two of you. And so I felt it would be a really good wine for us to share over the next time with our audience. So, you know, for those of you that may be new to Penny Lane and new to this channel, I feel like one of the best ways to get to know any organization is through the people that work here, right? There are a lot of nonprofits, especially in the service industry, that does a lot of the same things that we do. Mental health, foster care, affordable housing. But what makes each place, I think, a little bit different is the heart that is brought, and that can only be brought by the staff members that are part of the organization. So Nydia, let's go back. You were born and raised in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
And somewhere along the line, you ran into this woman over here. Of course, she was a girl at the time, right? Mm-hmm. In Puerto Rico. Take us back to the time that you first laid eyes on Judy. Tell us about that.
So this is a long story, but I'm gonna make it very short.
Please.
We have been friends since we were in second grade. So we're not gonna say our age, but it's been over 50 some years. And before that, our parents were friends too. So the way we really connected with each other, our parents would go and pick us up, wait for us outside, and they will talk, and then we became friends. Somehow, after the years, I moved to another school, and she moved to a different school, but we connected again when we were in high school. And it was like we have seen each other like in that intermittent years. And so since then, we've been like inseparable. So it's been a long time and a wonderful time.
Judy, do you think it was fated that the two of you met each other and then came back together in high school?
Not really. Life has its own flow, I will call it, and things happen because things needs to happen, and you meet people that are gonna be important in your life and are gonna bring to you a lot of lessons, and that's the reason that I'm very grateful for this friendship, because I have had many relationships that, they are there because it's part of growing, developing, being. But this one has brought to my life a lot of support. She's my sister. We have been, as she mentioned, so many years together here for each other. And most important, that we are all together here in Penny Lane.
Yeah, you mentioned sisters, and neither one of you have sisters. You both have brothers, and I know that you're very good siblings, and you're close with your brothers. But what is it about women and that level of sisterhood? I would assume you would agree with my mom in that the sisterhood is what really endures. What does a sisterhood mean to you, Nydia, when I ask for a definition of that?
I think, like with Judy, and I have some other friends too, but with her is, I know I can tell her everything that is in my mind, and I will not be judged. She will listen. She might correct me, because there have been times that she said, "Oh no, you're wrong," but
Not me.
but not judge me. And I know that is coming from her heart. Anything that we have been together with the good and the bad in our lives. And I feel like if I didn't have her, there have been times where I would have been in desperate situations, but she reeled me back into reality.
Can you say a little bit more about that?
I went through a hard time when my dad was very sick. I mean, she knows it was very, very hard. And there were times that I felt very, very desperate, but I had her to really help me. And I would say that she would always tell me, tomorrow is gonna be okay. Tomorrow is gonna be better. This is today, but tomorrow is gonna be better. And you're gonna look back and see that it was not that bad. This is a situation right now. Am I correct?
Yes.
And so I'm very appreciative of those times where we had each other in very, very difficult situations where we have had in our lives. Because it also is not all flowers, and it had been, we have gone through a lot of losses, but we have been there for each other.
Yeah. Judy, I know you've had a tremendous amount of loss in your life. You've lost your mom, you've lost your brother, you've lost your husband, pretty much the love of your life. How has Nydia been there for you during those times?
As Nydia already shared, we have been in our life all these years in different situations, but the one that you mentioned in particular is just to be there unconditionally. What do you need? How can I support you? The little things that sometimes we take for granted or we do not appreciate, she has been there for me, as she has been there for me for the good things. When I got married, when I got divorced, when I got married again, when I had my children, and then when I went through the losses. And Wendy, I want to go back to what you said. I really believe, and I agree with you and with your mom, there is a power that we share when we as women come together. And society and everything has been trying to change that or give different definitions to it. But for me, it's just that we know what it is to be a woman. And you can only know that if you're a woman. And definitely knowing that and knowing what women go through, like the losses that I'm talking about, or having a baby or whatever, who can support you better than your friend, like another woman?
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. You and I are both single, you know, often I get the question is, you know, why don't you have a partner or why don't you have a boyfriend? You know, and it gives me pause of like, you know, what does society expect from me? I mean, I'm not a full individual unless I have a partner, and yet I am so fulfilled by the women in my life. There is something to be said for women. You just know. You don't have to use words. There's just something kind of, it's very much a bond, but it's at a whole different kind of, and I hate to say it, but like at a soul level. And you said it exactly, Judy. There's something about a woman that knows what it's like to be a woman.
Can I address that? I think it's also about the nurturing part. I think we're natural nurture people, and I think that I have found that on Judy. And as I said, I have a lot of friends, and she has a lot of friends, but there have always been that connection. I don't know if I...
No, I totally agree with you, but you said something that applied to every woman. Mm-hmm. We are naturally nurturing, you know, we and that's the reason that we are the one who give birth. And by the way, it's painful like hell, but it's the most beautiful thing, you know? And we are the one that have always been identified like the one taking care of the home, taking care of the kids, and all of that. And life gave us the opportunity to develop and be recognized that we can also be here running an organization. And by the way, I don't want to make this about women only, because I think we need men, and we love that we have men.
I do love the men.
And I think it's the balance of nature. But I think that for a long time, people have forgotten to recognize who we are as a woman, you know? And it has been hard for us to prove what we can do, and, you know? And I think that's the key. Yeah. We know that, and then we support each other. And when we have to go through all the things that we go sometimes, because we are women, we know how to support each other. Yeah.
But we also like to have fun.
Yes. And that brings me back to Puerto Rico. So, you know, and again, I've visited Puerto Rico. There could not be a more fun, you know, I go back to when we had the horrible hurricane there that wiped out so much of the infrastructure, and yet you could see people dancing in the streets. They came together. There's such a sense of community. Tell me what it was like kind of growing up in that kind of atmosphere, especially as good girlfriends.
And a salsa dancers.
You know, one thing that I have learned about the Puerto Rican people is that no matter how bad life could be, we're always going to be showing a good face and having fun. We try to look at the positive in life. And I think that's one thing that we both have. We always try to look at the positive in life. And we had a lot of fun growing up.
Who got in the most trouble? Who got the other person out of the trouble? Because there's always a little dynamic here where there's the one person that just stirs up the trouble, and the other person that kind of, you know, helps you get out of the trouble. Was that dynamic there with you guys?
I don't know that we got in. I mean, we were always late.
I was going to say, because you're both beautiful, so the boys had to have been chasing you.
We always had boyfriends. And
here we go.
And we would get home at 5 o'clock in the morning.
What?
And her mother would wait for us outside and said, here comes the two boys of the house are coming now. But we had a blast.
Yeah, I think trouble, you know what, and I shared this with my kids and their friends. I love having that relationship with the new generation. And I encourage them always to have fun. And I share stories with my kids. I say, oh my God, did I have fun? And we knew how to be out late and all of that, but we learned also to be responsible with our decisions. And I try to share that. We had the opportunity really to have fun, but we had the opportunity also to develop spiritually. We went to Catholic church. There's positive in the Catholic church. We get out of there, but anyway, the foundation of it, that is love, being good to each other, and all of that, those values we learn. And I think that is the base and the foundation of our relationship. It was the fun, it was growing up in a country where you are really free to have fun, and as you say it, doesn't matter what is happening, people are dancing, people are singing, and I think that has given us the, what we know today, to have a good relationship.
But we also, beside the fun, I mean, we worked together in many different places as we were growing up. My mom used to be like the office manager of this plant, and when we were little, we would go and help and put plastic bottles on boxes, and we would get paid for that. We worked in the Pan American Games together. We have had so many opportunities to work together we did a lot of different things, but we always had fun. Even at work, we had fun.
It must have been a tough decision to leave Puerto Rico, a place where you have so many roots, family, that community. What brought you to the States, Nydia?
When I was 19, I decided to go to Miami. And I lived in Miami for a year. It wasn't my place. I didn't find myself in Miami. So I went back to Puerto Rico, and a friend of mine said, you know what, why don't you come to California? So I came to California, and I really loved it. Went back home, packed my bags, and came in.
Wow.
Yeah.
At 20?
At 20, 1980. And I do not regret it. There were times that I would feel very homesick, because it's a little bit different, but at the same time, 2 years later, I met my husband, and we ended up marrying in 1984. We've been together, we're gonna be married for 40 years. And I decided to stay here, and I'm very happy in California. I miss Puerto Rico, but I know that I can go back anytime I want.
Does it feel the same when you go back?
It does. I'm received with open arms with my family and my friends. I have friends that I had since childhood that if I see them tomorrow, even though I haven't seen them in years, it's like I saw them yesterday. So we have that kind of relationship. So I can go back anytime. So, but this is my life now. My kids were raised here, and I'm very happy that I'm here.
And Judith, how did you end up out in the States?
That's a question that
Whole
you
nother
are
wine with Wendy.
risking the whole time here, because it's a long story. But to make it short, by the way, I was the one who went to the university and was more into really getting an education. But I also was an actress. As I got in the university, I knew I wanted to be a social worker. That's what's in my heart. But I also loved dancing, acting, and all of that, and was sure that I was going to be famous as an actress and all of that. But at the same time, I always had my heart for helping others, being a service. It was like I felt it in my heart that I needed to do that. But then I took my chance. I did my career as an actress at the same time that I worked as a social worker. I did many things as an actress. I was doing great, but I was always working as a social worker. Then I said, okay, I'm gonna start working as a social worker. I'm just going to dedicate to my career. And then I wanted to follow my friend, and they said, okay, let me go to California. I came to live with Nydia, who was in her maybe 6 months of marriage, I don't remember. But anyway, to this day, her husband remind me that.
And I was pregnant.
She was pregnant. But anyway, I came here to be an actress to continue with my career, but as always happened in my life, I found a great job working as a social worker. I did some acting here and all of that. but I got into social work again. But the real reason was to be an actress. But you see, life has its own way to take you, and I became a social worker again.
You know, with acting is a whole nother wine with Wendy, but I think that there is some synergy between acting and social work.
Yes,
Because as an actress, you have to be able to dig deep into your own emotions. You have to have compassion and empathy for whatever's going on in the person's life that you are becoming. And that is very true of social work. Do you see the same?
No, I totally agree with you. And by the way, I have met many actors that when I share my experience, they go, oh, you know what? I wanted to be a psychologist. Or they, by the way, went into psychology or social work, but ended up being an actor. Then and my son, who is very interested in learning about human behavior and all of that, he's always trying to understand what is the relationship with creativity and being in the mental health field, because he has witnessed many of my friends and people in the field that you have that. You have the creative side and you have the serving side. And you're right. I think that to be an actor, you need to be someone who is sensitive to understand human behavior, so you can portray being that character. And in our field, is understanding human behavior, and is taking each person as individual and learning about them and helping them. And sometimes you have to be creative. Sometimes you have to use a little bit of acting. Anyway.
Yeah. So let's talk about how you both ended up at Penny Lane and how this friendship has really translated from Puerto Rico, thousands of miles away, into Penny Lane. So I would be remiss if I did not bring up our founder, who is also Puerto Rican, Ivelisse Markovitz, who I know you had a connection with and was actually the person that brought you to Penny Lane. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Once again, different times in my life, I always went like, okay, now I'm going back to my career. I forget about social work and all of that. At that point, when I came at Penny Lane, I was finishing my doctorate degree. I had my little boy that was 3 months old, and I was working in a pilot for a TV show, whatever. And I came and met this Puerto Rican that I didn't know that she was Puerto Rican, but I sat to talk to her. And then we started talking, oh my God, you're Puerto Rican, oh my God. Anyway, I shared with her and I said, you know, I'm just looking for a temporary job because these are my plans, this is my passion and all of that. And she said, okay, let me show you Penny Lane. And then she took me to the main facility where our difficult kids were residing. And she showed me around and she said, you know what, I can work with you in creating a position that you can take care of your dreams, but also you can be part of Penny Lane. And that's the way that I started. I started as a therapist. But talking about, is life is about coincidence, or there are things in life that needs to happen? And I tell you, so many of my colleagues, being honest, said, are you going to Penny Lane? And I said, what is wrong? Oh, you don't know the kind of kids that are there. And interesting enough, I was sitting in the lobby waiting for Eve to interview me, and there's 6 kids coming from one of the sad houses. And I'm not going to repeat what they were saying, but language, being aggressive, foul language, looking at me like, okay, are we scaring you? It was a little bit challenging. But I understood then what people were talking about. Yeah. But definitely hearing the story about Penny Lane, meeting, whatever, here I am.
So interesting. Do you think you came to Penny Lane because of your calling to be part of service and helping others, or was it your connection or even your sisterhood with Eve?
I always have had a call for service. Always. I am always taking care of people. And now at my age, I feel so happy for that. It has been my joy, has been my gift. Then I think in that path, then in any path in life, in a career, you meet people that help you and supporting, and you using that gift, that talent, and being. And Eve was instrumental for me. You see, the service was there, and it was going to be there. However, she was instrumental in making me aware, hey, you want to be an actress and all of that, that is great, but come on, look at this. There is people here that need your service. And by the way, she was instrumental in helping me to see that. And by the way, I didn't want to go into the long story, but Eve has some interest for acting and all of that too. And you know that in any way, she's related to that world too. Then definitely was someone in my path that supported me to continue and to be where I am today.
Yeah, I would almost say that Eve recognized in you the ability, your gift to help others, and kind of took you from point A to point B so that you could give that gift in a way. But she didn't take away your creativity, which would be your artistry of being an actress. She never diminished that. She saw who you were and said, hey, let's try that.
It's interesting, I don't know if that has happened to you, that you meet people in your life, like they come to you and say, okay, here's this path. Do you want to come with me? Do you want to come this way? I'll be here for you, you know? And then you make your choice. Sometimes we make the right choice, and sometimes we make the choice that doesn't look like the right choice, that we need to go through it to learn. But I'm very grateful for that day that I came to Penny Lane.
Yeah, and I think the three of us are both very spiritual, one of the things I'm most proud about at Penny Lane is that we allow the spirituality to come into what we do. And I think you're right. I mean, I think there is a journey, there is a path, and there's something to be said that when you walk off of that path, when you get away from your journey, or even God's calling to a certain degree, you know immediately. You know in your gut, this is not where I belong. Did you ever feel that when you were at the zoo?
By the way, could you clarify what were you doing at the zoo?
Yeah, I mean, talk to us a little bit, Nydia. That was kind of a roundabout question.
She was working there.
But just a little bit about how you made that transition from, working there to coming to your home at Penny Lane, and how you knew this was the right place for you.
I was actually managing all the food concessions at the zoo. I had a lot of background on doing special events and in the food service industry. But I worked side by side with the nonprofit of the zoo. And Eva called me one day and said, I want you to come and work for me. And I said, well, I'm happy where I'm at. But at the same time, I always wanted to be a social worker. And that was something that I didn't do. And I talked to my kids, and they said, Mom, this is the opportunity for you to do it. And I'm glad that we had that conversation. We were having lunch, and they said, yeah, go and do it. And so I came to Penny Lane, and Judy was not in town. She was in Colombia at that time because Enrique was getting some treatments. So she didn't even know that I was hired by Penny Lane until she came back. And she was so surprised. I said, I'm working with you now. So I am very happy that I took the position. I'm very happy that I'm able to do the job that I do, because not only I connect with donors, I connect a lot with the youth that we serve. For me to be able to relay the message, I need to know their stories, so people can connect with the organization. And that's a way for me to feel like I'm doing my social work, because somehow I feel like I'm making the kids happy. Same story as Judy. When I came the first day, I was in the main lobby and all these kids, and I'm thinking, oh my God, why did I get into it? But, you know, I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change anything. And being connected spiritually, not only to God, but to things that are beyond, it helped me. Because this is a very hard job. This is a very hard job. We see a lot of struggles and people suffering. So you have to have faith to know that we're doing the best we can to help others. And hopefully it changes their life.
So what is it like being friends at work?
It's challenging. It's challenging because I think it's part of, again, there's so many things that we learn because of society and because the world tell you that this is the way that things need to be. By the way, I want to take this opportunity to say that we are a family in Penny Lane. But reading books about work environment, people say you should not say you're a family because then you get into conflict. But when you work with people for so long, you have to become a family, no? And it's difficult to be a friend because, but a friend that you know for so many years.
I mean, sisters. I mean, you guys
exactly.
are, yeah.
Because you don't want people, sometimes people cannot see what is the truth. And sometimes they think that you are saying what you're saying because she's your friend. It is hard. It's hard for me. I think we have created boundaries where, you know, she does her job, I do my job, and we respect each other's job, and we don't get into, if she has a problem, she needs to resolve her problem. I'm here to support her, but it's her problem. Or the same thing here. It is hard, but I think I have learned to have friendships, but also have the responsibility of a job. And I think sometimes that is the problem. And something that we know pretty well, because that comes with our family history, we know that family is important, friendship is important, but when you're committed to a job, you have a big responsibility. And you need to know what are the boundaries. And again, difficult, but possible.
Yeah, and the thing is, we had talked about it. We don't want to interfere in each other's job, and I can say, I always say, you don't have to defend me. I can. I have my voice. You have your voice, and we just leave it at that because we're in a working environment, and it works well for us. I think one of the things that have worked for us is that we trust each other. And we know that we're not gonna do anything that will hurt one another. So that had been our life. I think trust is the main thing for us.
And I have to say again, and I say it because there's so many people in Penny Lane that have worked here for such a long time, that how can you don't know about their children growing up, going to college, now getting married, grandchildren, you know? You become close with them. But I think what is important is to always remember the boundaries of being professional or being responsible with your job, and also the responsibility that you have as a friend or someone that knows you for so long. And I think that's what makes us different in Penny Lane. And some people might look at us and say, yeah. But I think a lot of people that comes here and hear our stories of how long we have been here, that we have our former and only CEO was here for 50 years. But by the way, from those 50 years, you have been here how long?
I've been here 33 33 years.
33 years, and I have been here 28. You see, how can we don't treat each other as family? But at the same time, the boundaries, the professionalism, and all of that is very important, because how can we run a business? It's a business, the bottom line. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, and thank you for bringing that up, Judy, because I think it's important that we can bring elements of what makes this relationship special to Penny Lane, right? Because we've talked about the spirituality, we've talked about the history of the relationship, we've talked about the sisterhood, we've talked about Puerto Rico and the culture. How do you see, Nydia, those really important elements of this enduring relationship? How have you taken some of those lessons and brought them to Penny Lane to help clients and to help others? What are your values with that?
I think when I meet the youth, even when I meet the staff, I try to create a relationship with them, because I think it's important for me to listen to them and to learn the stories, and because if I don't know their stories, how can I help? And if I don't get to know the staff, how can I create that relationship? To me, everybody's important. It doesn't matter where you come from, what your background is, and I like to create connections and relationships. That's what I do best. I don't know if I answered your question. So I think one of the things that I do best is that I try to create positivity in their lives. I try to see their life. I don't bring the negative. I don't just bring the positive. I try them to see the positive in life, because I feel that that's the way that they're going to advance. If we bring negativity, then you stay behind. I don't know if I answered your question.
You did great.
I will add to that, by the way, Nydia, that we are all result of our history, of our experience, and taking the opportunity of the wine.
I think we should all take the opportunity.
You know what? Let's take.
We're going to toast.
Yes.
I drink before.
You know,
we can do both. We can do both.
I think we are the outcome of an experience of coming from a place where women are so empowered, going back to Puerto Rico. We had the opportunity to see a Puerto Rican woman running and creating this agency, and a woman that empowered us, by the way, to be part of this organization. But by the way, because of our history, our faith, our trust in relationship, we are who we are. And I have to say about Nydia, and I think people, donors, the board of directors of Penny Lane, everybody knows that what we are a team, that we bring our strengths and we bring our gift. And a gift that Nydia brings to this team is the ability to connect with people. How to connect, you mentioned the youth and all of that, but the way that you connect with our donors, with politicians, with everyone, so they hear our stories and they become, you attract them, you make them trust in us, so they become part of who we are.
This is a collective job, because it's not only me, it's all of us working together. We all have different jobs, but at the same time, we all come together and it all just becomes one unity. And that's how I think everybody that donate, or the majority of the people that donate to Penny Lane, and we have a relationship, they understand that we're a unity, that we all need to work together in order to get things done. And I think we have amazing people that help us.
Nydia is very humble.
Oh, yes.
But I would say that you can't bring to work what you haven't felt in your lifetime. And every lesson that we learn, every friendship, everything that we have experienced internally, it makes you better at your job if you use it in the right way. And you've done that. You've done that. And I would say, and maybe it's a leap, but I would say based on your friendship, based on your relationship, based on being there for each other in the good times and the bad, helps you become better at your job. Would you agree with that?
Oh, I totally agree with you, you know. We cannot not be who we are. Wherever we go, we are going to be the person, the professional. The success of Penny Lane throughout the years, and thank you, Wendy, because since you became the CEO, has been your goal to really make everybody aware about that we are a heart-centered culture, meaning we have a heart-centered culture. We are here because the passion. And I know it's not easy because no matter what's the business, it's a very difficult business with a lot of challenges, but you have given us, by the way, thank you, the opportunity to be ourselves and learn about what is that we can bring to the table. And by the way, we have been talking about everything positive, but we know this is not always positive. But to have the hard conversations and to be able to be honest with each other. And I think that's the reason that we are successful. And I'm glad that you gave us this opportunity because are these values of friendship, being spiritual, being heart-centered, who has kept us here, by the way, talking about us, for so long, and many other people. This is who we are. And it's because these values.
I also think that it's important to mention that you make a point to tell us when you appreciate us. You make a point to be vulnerable when you feel vulnerable. I think not everybody in your position will do that, and we appreciate that. The good, the bad, and the ugly, we appreciate that. Because no, it's what I said at the beginning. To me, trust, if you are the way you are on the good, the bad, and the ugly, I know who you are. And I will respect you and connect with you more because I know where it's coming from. So we appreciate that. And this is why the organization is where it's at right now. We're doing great. So.
Well, I appreciate that, ladies. And here's to us. Here's to sisterhood. And I want to thank my mom for instilling in me the importance of women, the strength of women, the power when we all come together and we are authentically who we are. And I couldn't be more honored to be working side by side with both Nydia and Judy Sandino.
Oh,
thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Wendy.
Wine with Wendy.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining Wine with Wendy. If you're interested and would like to join us, here are 2 other episodes.